Welcome to CultureAlley Spanish. Hola! This is lesson 22 on basic Spanish. We learned about the usage of ser and estar in our last lesson. Let us revise the situations where we can use ser. Ser can be used to express place of origin, occupation, nationality, essential qualities, religious or political affiliation, the material something is made of, possession, relationship of one person to another, the time, day, and date, and lastly, where an event is taking place. Now let us revise usage of estar. Estar is used to express geographic or physical location except when referring to where an event is taking place or referring to place of origin, and state or condition, for example, being sick, being lost, etc. In today's lesson, we will learn about how to deal with emergencies and seek help in Spanish-speaking countries. Today, we will learn some important travel vocabulary and some phrases related to emergency situations or if you need to seek help. All right, let's start with some common signs that you will encounter when traveling to a Spanish-speaking country. Let's begin with the common signs. Open in Spanish is abierto. Can you try saying that? Abierto. Closed becomes cerrado. Try that, please. Cerrado. Good. Entrance will be entrada. Will you say that? Entrada. Moving on, exit becomes salida. Can I hear you say that? Salida. Push translates into empuje. Say that, please. Empuje. Pull will be tirar. Say that, please. Tirar. Wonderful. Let's see if you remember or not. Will open be translated as cerrado? Or will it be abierto? Or entrada? Open will be translated as abierto. Hope you got it right. How will you say closed in Spanish? Will you say cerrado, or salida, or entrada? Will it be the first, or the second, or the third? Closed will be translated as cerrado. Hope you got that one right. If not, let's say it one more time. Close is cerrado. Great. Now try translating push. Will you translate it as tirar, or salida, or empuje? Push will be empuje. Did you get it right? How will you translate pull in Spanish? Will you translate it as tirar, or salida, or empuje? Pull will be translated as tirar. How will you translate entrance? Will it be entrada, or salida, or empuje? Entrance will become entrada. It is easy to remember as it sounds similar to the word entrance. Great! Now let us quickly revise the phrases we learned. Open in Spanish translates to abierto, whereas closed becomes cerrado. Entrance will be entrada. Exit becomes salida. Push translates to empuje. And lastly, pull will be tirar. So remember these signs to get your way around. All right, now let's look at some phrases that will help us deal with emergencies. Let's start with a basic one, how to seek help. Let's look at some phrases to seek help. Help in Spanish is translated as ayuda. Can you try that, please? Ayuda. Now, let's look at a phrase using this. I need help becomes necesito ayuda. Can you say that? Necesito ayuda, where need is translated as necesitar. Hence, I need becomes necesito. I need help, therefore, becomes necesito ayuda. Great! Now let's look at some phrases like I'm lost or I'm injured. Now, as you may know, lost and injured take up the form of adjectives in these examples. The verbs that these are derived from are to lose and to injure. To learn how to convert verbs into adjectives, let's learn the concept of past participles. A participle is a word that shares some characteristics of both verbs and adjectives. In both Spanish and English, past participles can come in quite handy. They can be used to create adjectives. In English, the adjectives selected or broken are derived from the verbs to select and to break, respectively. For example, that pot is broken. Here, broken describes the noun, the pot. Hence, broken becomes an adjective which is derived from the verb to break. In Spanish, the past participle of regular verbs is formed by adding ado or ada to the stem of AR ending verbs for masculine or feminine genders respectively, and ido or ida to the stem of ER or IR ending verbs for masculine or feminine genders respectively. An S at the end is added for plural forms. Let's look at some examples to understand this better. The verb to injure becomes herir. In English, the corresponding adjective will be injured. To convert it into an adjective in Spanish, we would replace the ending IR with ido for a male. This changes herir to herido for masculine gender, and herida for feminine gender. We can add an S at the end for plural forms. So, to injure is herir, whereas the adjective injured will become herido when used with a singular masculine subject. With a plural and masculine subject, injured gets translated as heridos. Just an S is added at the end for plural form. Again, to injure is herir. Its adjective form, injured, when used with singular feminine subject, becomes herida. Notice how for feminine forms it ends in A, while for masculine it ends in O. Again, when used with plural feminine subjects, injured will become heridas. Can you try saying that? Heridas. Let's look at some more examples. To lose is perder. Hence, the adjective lost is translated as perdido when used with singular masculine subject. The same adjective lost will translate to perdida when used with singular feminine subject. Let us take another example. To tire is translated as cansar. Its adjective is formed by replacing its AR ending by ado. So tired becomes cansado for a singular masculine subject. When used with singular female subject, the adjective tired becomes cansada. Simple, isn't it? All right, it's quiz time now. How will you translate lost when used with a singular masculine subject? Will it be perdido, or herido, or herida? The correct translation will be perdido. How will you translate injured when with a singular feminine subject? Will it be cansada, or herido, or herida? The correct translation will be herida. Great! Let us now revise how the past participles are formed for regular verbs. In Spanish, the past participle for regular verbs is formed by adding ado or ada to the stem of AR ending verbs for masculine or feminine genders respectively, and by adding ido or ida to the stem of ER or IR ending verbs for masculine or feminine genders respectively. S is added at the end for plural forms. Good. Moving on, now let's look at some phrases which use these words. Let us look at the phrase, I'm lost. Assuming it is a male saying this phrase, I'm lost gets translated as estoy perdido. Please notice the use of estar as we are referring to a temporary situation. One is usually lost for some time. In I'm lost, which is estoy perdido, lost is used as an adjective. Same way as tall is used in I am tall. So when used as an adjective, lost translates to perdido. Good. Let us learn another phrase. I am sick. For a female speaker, I am sick will be translated as estoy enferma. Sick becomes enferma and is used as an adjective. Note that it ends in A because we have assumed a female speaker. Let's look at another important phrase. I am injured. Injured is an adjective made from the verb to injure. To injure is herir. Hence, I am injured, when used for a male, will be translated as estoy herido. Once again, injured is translated as herido and is used as an adjective. Please remember that in I'm injured, which gets translated as estoy herido, injured is used as an adjective. Same way as tall is used in I'm tall. However, as a verb, to injure translates to herir. Great! All right, it's quiz time again. Can you please translate I'm sick to Spanish? Is it going to be soy herido? Or will it be estoy enfermo? Or estoy herido? I'm sick will be translated as estoy enfermo. Hope you got that right. Remember, we use estar and not ser. Hence, it is estoy enfermo. Awesome. Now let's try translating they're injured, assuming a female group. Will you translate it as están heridas, or están herido, or están heridos? The correct answer will be están heridas. How did you do there? Since the speakers were all females, we used heridas. That is, ending in A for feminine form, and we added an S for plural form. Great! Let's quickly revise the words learned so far. The adjective lost when taking up singular form becomes perdido or perdida, and for plural forms it becomes perdidos or perdidas, for masculine and feminine subjects respectively. The adjective sick becomes enfermo or enferma for singular subjects, and enfermos or enfermas for plural. And lastly, the adjective injured will get translated as herido or herida for singular subjects, and heridos and heridas for plural. Whether to end in O or A depends on the gender. Great! We will now use the adjectives in a conversation. Today's conversation is: Mark, where are you? Lisa, I am lost. Lisa, how are you? Mark, I am sick, and you? Lisa, I am tired. Mark, where are they? Lisa, they are at the hospital. They are injured. Let us translate the first part of our conversation. Where are you gets translated to ¿Dónde estás? In Spanish. And I am lost becomes Estoy perdida. Mark says, ¿Dónde estás? To which Lisa replies, Estoy perdida. Since Lisa is a female, she will use perdida. The second part of our conversation goes like this. How are you becomes ¿Cómo estás? I am sick, and you gets translated as Estoy enfermo. ¿Y tú? Where E means and. I am tired becomes Estoy cansada. Let's look at the conversation. Lisa asks, ¿Cómo estás? To which Mark replies, Estoy enfermo. ¿Y tú? Lisa further says, Estoy cansada. Moving on to the last part of our conversation, where are they, referring to a mixed group, becomes ¿Dónde están? They are at the hospital translates to Ellos están en el hospital. And lastly, they are injured becomes Ellos están heridos. Remember, we use heridos as it is a mixed group. Now let's look at our conversation again. Mark asks Lisa, ¿Dónde están? Lisa replies, Ellos están en el hospital. Ellos están heridos. Great! Now let's look at some more important phrases to deal with emergencies. I need a doctor is an important phrase, and it gets translated as necesito médico. To need is necesitar. Hence, I need becomes necesito. Here's a grammar tip for you. Necesito médico is for a male doctor. But for a female doctor, we would say necesito médica. Good. Remember, we don't need to add un or una as the gender is obvious from the words médico and médica. Since we are talking about dealing with emergencies, imagine you are out in a new city or country and you lose your phone. You might need to use someone's phone to get your way around. So, now let's learn how to say, "Can I use your phone?" in Spanish. Let us see the word-by-word breakup for the phrase. Can is poder in Spanish, but it will not be used as it is here. I becomes yo. Use gets translated to usar. Your becomes su. And lastly, phone is translated to teléfono. Can, or to be able to, is translated as poder in Spanish. On conjugation, I can becomes yo puedo. Remember that on conjugation, it undergoes a spelling change. The O gets converted to UE. The pronoun yo can be omitted here as it is obvious. Therefore, can gets translated as puedo. For I, the translation is omitted. Use becomes usar. Your gets translated as su. And lastly, phone becomes teléfono. Remember that we already conjugated can, hence we do not need to conjugate to use or usar. Since can, or to be able to, is already conjugated, the next verb is used in its infinitive form. Infinitive form is the most basic form of a verb. In Spanish, infinitives always end in AR, ER, or IR. In English, the term is usually used to refer to the to plus verb form of the verb, such as to run, to eat, etc. Hence, the infinitive form of to use is usar, and will be used as is in this sentence. Thus, can I use your phone translates to ¿Puedo usar su teléfono? The possessive adjective your translates to su when used formally. Can you try saying, can I use your phone? ¿Puedo usar su teléfono? Great! Let's look at another important phrase that can help you with emergency situations. Where is the police station? Let us see the breakup for this phrase. Where becomes donde. Is translates to está. The becomes la. And police in Spanish is policía. And lastly, station becomes estación. Here the police got translated into policía. And station became estación. However, the police station is la estación de policía, literally meaning the station of police. Police station takes up feminine form, hence we have used la. Therefore, where is the police station gets translated to ¿Dónde está la estación de policía? The police station is la estación de policía in Spanish. Can you say that, please? ¿Dónde está la estación de policía? Brilliant. It's quiz time again. How will you translate, can I use your telephone, in Spanish, assuming a formal context? Will it be poder uso su teléfono? Or puedo uso tu teléfono? Or puedo usar su teléfono? Can I use your telephone in Spanish will be ¿Puedo usar su teléfono? How did you do there? Let's try another one. How will you say, where is the hospital in Spanish? Will you say it as ¿Dónde es el hospital? Or ¿Dónde está el hospital? Or could it be ¿Dónde está la hospital? where is the hospital is translated as ¿Dónde está el hospital? Remember, hospital is masculine, hence we use el. Now try translating I need a doctor. Is it necesitar un médico? Or necesitar una médico? Or necesito médico? The correct translation is necesito médico. Did you get that right? Now try translating where is the embassy? Let me give you a hint. Embassy takes up feminine gender and is translated as embajada. So, is it ¿Dónde está la embajada? Or ¿Dónde es la embajada? Or will it be ¿Dónde está el embajada? Where is the embassy becomes ¿Dónde está la embajada? Did you notice that embajada is pronounced as embajada? We learned earlier that the letter J takes up the sound of a stressed H in Spanish. Let us revise some words that we learned from the quiz. Police station in Spanish is estación de policía. Hospital is hospital, whereas embassy becomes embajada. Good. Let us now revise the phrases we looked at so far. Can I use your phone becomes ¿Puedo usar su teléfono? I need a doctor translates to necesito médico. And lastly, where is the police station becomes ¿Dónde está la estación de policía? Great! Another emergency situation could be if you lose an important article like your wallet or passport. Let's now look at some phrases that would help us in communicating such a situation. Let's begin with translating I lost my wallet. Here is the breakup. I translates to yo. Lost, which usually becomes perdido when used as an adjective, will be translated differently in this context. We will see why. Looking at the remaining words, my becomes mi. And lastly, wallet becomes billetera. Now, we learned that perdido is the adjective form of lost. However, in the sentence, I lost my wallet, lost takes up the form of a verb, as losing the wallet is an action. As a verb, to lose becomes perder. So as a verb, to lose becomes perder. And in I lost my wallet, we have used the past tense of to lose. Therefore, I lost in past tense will translate to perdí. We will learn the forms of verbs in past tense in future lessons. Therefore, I lost my wallet translates to perdí mi billetera. Can you try that, please? Perdí mi billetera. Very good. All right, it's quiz time. How will you translate I lost my passport in Spanish? Here's your hint. Passport is pasaporte. So is it going to be perdido mi pasaporte? Or perdí mi pasaporte? Or could it be perdida mi pasaporte? The correct translation to I lost my passport is perdí mi pasaporte. So remember, wallet is translated as billetera, and passport becomes pasaporte. Now let's revise some words we learned in the lesson. Open becomes abierto. Closed translates to cerrado. Entrance is entrada. Exit will be salida. Push becomes empuje. And lastly, pull translates to tirar. The adjective loss gets translated to perdido, perdidos, or perdida, perdidas. Sick becomes enfermo, enfermos, or enferma, enfermas. And injured will become herido, heridos, or herida, heridas. Let us revise the phrases. Can I use your phone becomes ¿Puedo usar su teléfono? I need a doctor translates to Necesito médico. And where is the police station becomes ¿Dónde está la estación de policía? And lastly, I lost my wallet becomes Perdí mi billetera. Great! All right, it's time for the Culture Leaf of the Day. Today, we will talk about the beaches of Spain. Spain has over 5,000 miles of coastline, much of which is graced with beautiful beaches. Though the tourists flock to the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol, there are beautiful beaches all over Spain. The image here shows El Sardinero Beach in Santander, Cantabria. In the next lesson, we will look at some more travel conversations. Hope you enjoyed your lesson today. See you at the alley for the next one.